Hey y'all. I have a confession to make. I feel the need to tell on myself for what I feel is a big inauthenticity. And that is that while for years and years I have been teaching the work of willingness and overcoming fear to being with certain emotions, and I've been coaching on this for years and years, I myself have not been practicing it in a specific area of my life. I have spent my entire life completely avoiding being alone. I can count on one hand the number of times in my entire life that I've spent the night alone. I have been run by my fear of loneliness for years and decades. When I was little, I was absolutely terrified of going to spend the night at a friend's house. I'd try, and then I'd have to call my parents in the middle of the night to pick me up because I was so terrified. I was terrified to go away and spend nights at my dad's house. I had a phobia of spending nights alone and of being alone. Being alone to me was associated with being unsafe. And that feeling of unsafety correlated with being alone has deep, 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 deep roots in my body. And I've conveniently found ways to avoid having to be with that feeling that I used to feel when I was little. And this is very much associated with trauma. I don't feel the need to go into my specific traumas right now in this video, but just know that I've spent my whole life avoiding that feeling. I have ensured that I have been in back-to-back relationships my whole life. I've always lived with roommates, and if those roommates were going to be away for the night, I would go stay with another friend. When I was in partnership and living with my partners, if they would go away for the night, I would protest with all of my might and try to get them to stay. And often I would succeed and they would stay. And when they wouldn't stay, I'd leave and go to a sister's house or a friend's house. And at this point, it feels so inauthentic to me because my entire career and all of my teachings are about willingness and being willing to be with exactly those thoughts, memories, judgments, emotions, and sensations that we have most feared and resisted. I teach about how resistance causes persistence. And when we resist something, we give it so much power over us. We're giving our power away to circumstances, to that which is outside of us. And I'm realizing that I have been preaching this and I have not been practicing it. I have somehow managed to avoid and evade ever having to be alone or spend nights alone. And I've done really, really challenging things in my life. I've done very intense plant medicine ceremonies. I've sat in silent meditation in Vipassana. I have traveled to countries where I faced a lot of challenging circumstances and difficulties. I've gone into spaces that were very hard to be in. And what all of those things have in common is that there were other people there. All of these hard things that I've done in my life have been surrounded by others. And I've been brave. I've been very, very brave in my life. But up until this point, I have avoided being alone and being with myself. And so tonight is one of the first nights of my entire life that I'm choosing of my own volition to be alone, to eat alone, to sleep alone, to wake up alone. And I'm saying this to you all because I am committed to practicing what I preach. I am committed to never asking a client to do something that I am unwilling to do myself. I'm committed to actually walking the talk. And for me, my fear of being alone is absolutely my biggest fear in this life. And I'm still sorting out exactly why that is. I'm still sorting out all of the meaning that I have given to being alone throughout the course of my life and the somatic roots of that feeling of aloneness. So I'm committing to spending many more nights alone, and nights not only alone, but nights without technology, where I don't have the capacity to reach out to somebody and make them feel better. And even as I say this, I'm like, oh, am I just saying that? Am I really going to do that? Yes, I am. I'm committed to giving myself what I have been giving to others for my entire life. I'm committed to transforming my relationship to aloneness and getting really excited about the opportunity to bask in my own essence and fully show up for myself and show up for the terrified, terrorized little girl that used to have to do things that she didn't want to do and she didn't choose for herself, and felt such a deep sense of aloneness that felt like a cold, dark prison. I'm committed to showing up for her and doing the things that bring her to the surface, the things that bring that terror to the surface, that I can finally, once and for all, show up for her in the midst of that terror and let her know that it's okay. It's okay to feel so scared. It's okay to feel powerless. It's okay to feel lonely, enraged, and that she's safe. She's safe to be with herself, and that she is all the protection and comfort and security that she needs. So thank you all for listening and allowing for me to speak this into existence and to call myself out and restore my integrity. I appreciate you so much. And if any of you are struggling with this fear of being alone, or really a resistance to or terror of any particular emotion, let me know. I'm here to support you, and I'm committed to doing the work myself so that I can support you as fully and as best as possible. Thanks for listening.